Hey, guess who's outside? I'm outside. Wow. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys a story. Story time. Sit down, get comf, pop a squat, get comf. We're gonna be here for like 5 minutes maybe? Depends. Anyways, so today my friend was telling me about her getting her license. And I have not gotten my license yet. But I have taken a course with driving with this guy. And I've been there twice, right? But like the second time was fine. I had a lady and she was like super chill. She's like in college or whatever. First time I had this guy and he was like super uptight and like crazy. I don't like. First of all, I I get really intimidated by guys with mustaches. Just feel like their mustache is just gonna punch me in the face. Just like, hey, how you doing? My mustache is strong enough to punch you in the face, so don't mess with me. That was the first problem, but he seemed pretty okay. He was like, "Hey, how you doing? You're gonna be driving with me today. Have you ever done this before? Oh no, we're gonna have so much fun." Punches me in the arm like lightly, and I'm just like, "Bruh, we're not cool." Then we get in his car, and I'm just like, "Yeah, what do I do? I've never done this before. I have no idea how to drive with someone that's not my mom." Because like my mom, I'm like, get in the back seat. Cody's my brother. Cody's sitting next to me in the passenger seat. Like we're gonna turn up the jams. Just crazy, just crazy. So we get in the car and I'm just like, hey. He's like, what do you need to do? I'm like, turn on the car. And he's like, yeah, but what else do you need to do? And then he's like looking at himself and he's like, and I'm like, oh, you need on your seatbelt thing. And he's like, yes, you always need to make sure that your passengers have their seatbelt on. And I'm like, bruh, I haven't even started the car yet. Like, and then like I never put on like the safety brake, parking brake thing. And so like I had no idea what that was. I was like, what the hell is this little light up here? And he's like, obviously that's the parking brake. I'm like, I'm sorry, I've never used that in my life. Like, I just use a normal brake because I'm normal. Like, we're like on a flat road, so I don't know why you would need that. Um, so yeah, now we're there, and like, so he's got like on their side of the car, they have their own like little like to like accelerate or like the gas or like brake. All the accelerate and the gas, it's the same thing. Okay, so there's like the accelerator thingy and then the brake. They have that on their side too. So I'm like starting and like to get out of the parking lot, I was like, I'm gonna be super safe with this guy and just be like, I'm just gonna do everything. I'm putting on my blinker just to get out of the parking lot. He's like, you don't actually need to do that. I was like, well, what if there's someone behind me and they need to know that I'm turning left? He's like, left is the only option. I was like, well, what if I wanted to back up into them? They wouldn't have seen it coming because I didn't put on a blinker. I could have backed into them even though no one was there. So we're driving, and I'm like, I don't even know where we were driving. Like, I literally went places I've never been before. Like I live in like suburbs or whatever, but we were out like in the country. Like, where are we? So then the brake in his car is like the hardest thing to push in the world. Like, imagine like a huge boulder, like blocking the entrance to a cave. Okay, and then it's like 5,000 tons, and you're trying to push that with just your foot. That's what it was like. And then, like, the accelerator was, like, super touchy. It's like a pin dropping on it, you're going, like, 50 miles per hour. I was like, bruh, you're gonna make your car like this and I have to drive in it? I don't use your car. I don't know how to drive this. And then you're just gonna be, like, staring at me. And so, like, my resting face, like, I look angry, I guess. No one tells me And so he's like, "What's wrong? What's on your mind?" I was like, trying to concentrate on the road so we don't crash because you keep pressing the freaking brake because the brake is so touchy and it's like it won't freaking work and you're like, ah, press harder. I'm just like, oh my god. And so we're like driving. It's like, do you even know where we are right now? Do you? And I'm like, actually, I have no freaking clue. He's like, do you know what the like the speed limit is? I'm like, do I look like I know what the speed limit is? There has not been a speed limit sign for like 4,000 miles. And I don't know where we are, as I just told you. And we're out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't think we're passing anybody, so it doesn't matter. He's like, oh, do you see that sign over there? Do you know what it is? He points to a Chevron sign. I was like, I got this, home dog. Because we learned all about Chevron signs. All of you guys, even if you take driver's ed, you probably don't know what a Chevron sign is. That's because you're lame and you didn't have Coach Zach as your driving teacher. The Chevron signs, those little like yellow ones with the black arrows that are like, hey, and they guide you safely through curvatures in the road. Pretty sure that's all I learned from driver's ed. So yeah, I was like, that's a Chevron sign. But who knows shit. And he's like, I don't even know what that is. And I was like, he's like, I don't know what this sign is, but I'd like you to tell me what it means. And so I tell him, he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes. We're going through a curvature in the road, and I'm going to drive you safely through it because I know what a Chevron sign is. He's like, okay. And so I'm trying to go around this corner, and I'm like speeding because I have no idea what the speed limit. And he already had told me, he was like, you're going the speed limit that's a little bit slow. You could be going 5 miles above it. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And so I'm like, okay. And then he has to freaking push the brake because, of course, the brake is like crazy. And sorry, no, I'm just came outside. Augie, come here. The brake was so heavy. That's my dog. he's like, I don't understand why you're still having so much trouble. You should be used to this by now. You've been driving this car for a half an hour. I don't have leg muscle. Like, I'm sorry. I don't have leg days. Or arm days. I don't. I mean, I can pick up a 50-pound child, but I'm not about to press a brake that weighs 4,000 tons just to push it. I'm just like, so we're driving, and every 5 minutes he's like, "Do you know where we are yet? Do you know where we are yet?" I'm like, we're still out in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, no, we don't. And then we get to like all these like circles, and he's like, "Wow, these are tricky." I'm like, "It's a circle. Traffic circles are so easy," and we went straight through them. So it was like, "Ooh, look, we're going, and then we turn, and then we go." Wow, that's so hard. Wow. I must be a freaking genius because I can go through traffic circles pretty awesomely. Yeah. So then like he's like always keeps on like trying to make jokes or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, you're so serious. Oh my god. How's life? What do you like to do with your life?" And I'm like, I don't really play sports, but I like photography and art and stuff. He's like, "Oh, it's really fun. Well, I like football and lots of sports." I'm like, I didn't ask you what you like. I might ask you where I should turn next, but I did not ask you what you like because I really don't care. I just want to get through this. Ugh. And then we like get back like maybe like 5 minutes early, and then my mom's always like 10 minutes late picking me up from places. So like we get back, and he's just like, "Well, that's a day. I'm gonna leave now." I was like, "Okay." And then like he comes out like 5 minutes later and he's like, "Is your mom coming?" I'm like, "No, she just figured she was gonna strand me here." Yes, she's coming. I called her. Like you saw me on the phone with her. We don't live like 4 seconds away because there actually aren't any houses right near here. I hate. Well, I love driving, but I hate driving with other people because everyone has their own way and they're all going to hate you. Okay, that's it. Bye. Comment any ideas you want me to rant about, or like, even if you don't want me to rant, just let me know. Follow me on Instagram. I'll probably make a Twitter. And yeah, just comment, subscribe. Have a nice life.